If you're visiting Sokcho, chances are it's for one reason: Seoraksan National Park. But this coastal city has so much more to offer than just mountains. From hand-pulled ferries and K-drama filming spots, to legendary street food, ocean views, and insanely good coffee, here are the top 11 things you absolutely can't miss in Sokcho. Sokcho is located in the northeast of South Korea. The best way to get to Sokcho as a traveller is by taking a bus from Seoul, which costs between 13 and 20,000 won and takes about 2.5 hours.
So, the first place I want to show you here in Sokcho is the Abai Village. And to get there, we have to take a very special mode of transport called a Gaetbae.
The Gaetbae is a traditional passenger ferry that became famous after appearing in several K-dramas, probably because it has no engines, because it's powered by you, the passenger. Passengers use metal hooks to grab onto a steel cable and manually pull the ferry across a channel between Sokcho and the Abai Village. Not only is it a very fun and cheap experience, costing 500 won per person per way, but it's the best way to get to our second stop, the Abai Village.
So the Abai Village is quite special because at the end of the Korean War, this is where a lot of North Korean refugees set up shop in the hopes that they could one day return across the border to North Korea. Of course, that never happened, and now they've set up the Abai Village. And the term Abai comes from a North Korean dialect where Abai means an aged person. So when this village was set up, all the people that resided here were elderly, hence the Abai Village. Now, I wanted to show you this place because I wanted to show you some Sokcho cuisine, namely squid sundae. And I think I've just found a place, so let's take a look.
Squid sundae, or ojingeo sundae, is squid coated with egg and stuffed with squid tentacles, pork, vegetables and noodles. It's then cut into bite-sized pieces before being fried, and as a Sokcho speciality, it's something you absolutely have to try on your visit.
Let's see what this tastes like. Amazing. So what's in here is mixed vegetables wrapped in a squid ring and then fried with egg, and it is a little bit spicy, but actually I think that's the kimchi leaking onto it. So let's try it with a bit of kimchi. Honestly, mixed vegetables, squid, egg, can't go wrong. If you love squid like I do, come try this. That was probably the quickest I've ever thought about food and have it appear in front of me. And it was so tasty. I really cannot recommend enough coming to the Abai Village for some squid sundae. Of course, you don't have to have squid sundae. They actually have Abai sundae too, which is rice mixed with, I think, pig's blood, and then wrapped in, I think, pig or cow's stomach and fried. Maybe not going to be too Western taste, but I've had sundae before and it is beautiful. It's all wrapped, and I think I'm pretty sure it's pig intestine, but it does taste good. And I think other food you can get here are some crab. I've seen some crabs on display, and I can only imagine how fresh they are with all the boats right outside the village here. But there is one more place I want to show you tonight because the sun is setting here and I'm losing time. But to get to it, we have to go back across the river on our little Gaetbae. So let's head back to it. Oh, one more thing. If you come to the Abai Village, you don't have to come for food. It is a cool place to walk around, and there's also a boardwalk just outside it and also a beach over to my right hand side here. So you can really make a little couple of hours of it.
This time, once I boarded the Gaetbae, there was a spare hook. So rather than standing around, I decided to get involved and break sweat. After disembarking, it was just a 2-minute walk to our next stop.
We are now at our second stop, the Sokcho Tourist and Fishery Market, or Sokcho Central Market. And I brought you here for two reasons. One, because I want to show you some of the best fried chicken in Korea, but there's a catch and we'll get to that later. Two, because I want to try makgeolli bread, which I think is rice wine bread. Don't know much else about it other than that, but apparently it is great.
The market is open from 8 AM to midnight every day, although individual store opening times vary. I experienced a market in every Korean city I visited, and this was probably my favorite because it was lively, bright and energetic, without being cramped and overwhelming. The main reason I was here though was to try fried chicken from this place. This is the famous Manseok dakgangjeong, or Manseok sweet and spicy chicken. That catch I talked about earlier is that this chicken served here is only served cold with no options for reheating market. Despite that, the texture of the batter with the contrast of the sweet and spicy sauce topped with almonds made this some of the tastiest and most flavorful fried chicken I've tasted in all of South Korea. And they happen to serve some delicious craft beers to wash that chicken down with. The other food you need to try here is sulbang, and apparently delicious and soft, fluffy, slightly chewy, sweet and tangy bread made with fermented rice wine. Not that I would know though, as by the time I got to the stall, they were closed for the night, and when I returned another day, I was confronted with this insane queue. So I reluctantly decided to pass. So don't make the same mistakes I did to ensure you get your bread. That was about all I had time for on my first night in Sokcho, as the next day I was up bright and early to visit South Korea's most beautiful national park, Seoraksan National Park. This is a must-do activity if you're staying in Sokcho. In fact, it's probably the reason you're visiting Sokcho to begin with. If not, make it a priority to visit the park, even just for a short day hike, and you'll see why it's lauded for its beauty. I spent 2 days here hiking Korea's third tallest peak, sleeping in a mountain shelter and taking on the infamous Dinosaur Ridge, touted as the country's toughest hike. If you're interested in this, I've made a full video on my experience, which is linked in a card at the top of the screen. Check it out. I returned to Sokcho a day later. Tired and broken, I took some time to rest, and then on my final day, with only a few hours left before I would head back to Seoul and then on to Jeju Island, I decided to go on a whistle-stop tour of the city. I woke early and made the short walk from my hotel to Yeonggeumjeong Sunrise Pavilion in the hopes of catching a sunrise. As you can tell though, the sunrise didn't want to catch me, so I caught a taxi 5 minutes south to relax on the beautiful Sokcho Beach.
The beach is one of the most popular in South Korea, and it's easy to see why. It's got golden sands and gorgeous blue waters. There are even lots of little objects lying around for you to take Instagram photos. However, don't expect them to be free when you visit, because even on a quiet day like today, there are crowds forming around those objects just to get that Instagrammable snap. Sokcho even has its own eye, as you can see behind me, which offers great views over the entire city. However, I'm not going to go there for views. I'm going to go somewhere else. This is Sokcho Expo Tower, and it offers one of the best views over the entire city. The Expo Center Tower gives insane views out over the city and out to sea. And what's really cool is on the other side, you can look out to Seoraksan National Park. And what's even better is you can see the juxtaposition of the tall apartment buildings against the mountains. It looks incredible. So if you want views of the beach, I would choose Sokcho Eye, but if you want views over the entire city and Seoraksan National Park, I would choose the Expo Center Tower. All this running around has me quite thirsty, so let's go grab a coffee.
A 20-minute walk from the Expo Tower is the Chilsung Boatyard, an old boatyard which has been converted into a huge and stylish cafe and coffee roasters. Not only do they serve top-notch coffee, but they sell incredibly delicious bread. So you best believe I made sure to grab one.
So for some of the best coffee in all of Sokcho, I've come to Chilsung Boatyard. This place actually used to make boats, but since 2018 it has been a coffee shop, and they roast their own beans. You know what? Coffee tastes great, and they sell baked goods. I got an ice cream bread and it tastes amazing.
I wish I had discovered Chilsung earlier in my trip, because it's just a very nice place to relax and chill out. However, I had to leave pretty much after finishing my coffee and bread, as I was up against the clock to make my bus back to Seoul.
Alright, I've made it to the bus terminal and I'm now on my way to Jeju Island from Gimpo Airport back in Seoul. So I have a long bus journey ahead of me, but my time in Sokcho has come to an end, and I'm very sad because I didn't get to see everything I wanted. But of course, 24 hours is just not enough to see this city. I really recommend giving yourself a full 48 hours to explore everything Sokcho has on offer. Fun, and I cannot recommend enough that you do take the time to explore this lovely seaside town. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video or found it useful, please hit the like button below, because that will help YouTube push the video out to other people who might also like the video or find it useful. And if you want to keep up to date with all my future videos, then hit the subscribe button, because then YouTube will notify you when I release a new video, either from here in Korea, Japan, Vietnam, or in the future, Canada. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.